This episode was brought to you by Bonnaroo.org. Make sure you check out our newly designed store and merchandise. Stay tuned for our Patreon, a hub that will offer produced video and behind-the-scenes content, get in-depth music and lyric breakdown episodes. Subscribers will get to download exclusive music soundtracks. So for more information, go ahead and visit InsideASinisterMind.com. Welcome to Inside a Sinister Mind. We just wrapped up Season 1, Season 2 coming soon. I'm here to answer some questions and let y'all know what to expect from this podcast. As I work on Season 2, I will drop in between season bonus episodes to update you on all my current projects. Much love to all of you who support and share these stories. Episode 5, let's go. With the hold of a savage, see the mic and I grab it. Big C roca, yeah, the ego is landed. Goofy move, dedication to. I'm back full-fledged, I'ma do what I do. I was jammed up and set down in baja. Extradited, soy navaja. Cut you, won't come but you. That's how I'm coming with the game to snuff you. I'm chief down in this concrete jungle. You can get got, it's hard to cookie crumble. The psyche of the villain so sexy, might say kill him. In these Cortez Nikes, gotta get mine. Yeah, that's regardless. No fly zone for all you orders. Straight up, I be creeping dolo. Share man, slim, you know the mugshot photo. Música asesina. Inside a sinister mind. Inside a sinister mind. Inside a sinister mind. You are now tuned in to a sinister mind. Inside a sinister mind. Inside a sinister mind. Inside a sinister mind. You are now tuned in to a sinister mind.
I need to see what you see.
You do this, there's no turning back. So let's start with the first question. Question 1. Inside a Sinister Mind podcast, let us know your idea behind that title and why you chose to go with that name and why you chose to do a podcast.
As far as the name, I mean, we're just trying to keep it in that realm of the movement that I represent. You know, it coincides with my label name, which is Sinister Kingdom Music, you know, SKM. And even that, like when me and Jay were trying to come up with the name, and then, like, you know, we came across, like, let's do SKM. We wanted something that would let motherfuckers know that I was in my lane, and in my lane, I had a throne. And, you know, even the logo, you know, like SKM with the chess piece in it, inside the K, you know, that's like anybody killer type shit. Like, so, and as far as, like, why a podcast, I think that, and then a podcast like this, you know, like, you know, I could have did a podcast where it's visuals, where you could see me talking, which that might come down, you know, it's probably in the pipeline, you know, but for now, like, I think that this type of podcast is like reading a book. It goes deep inside your psyche, you know, and the reason I did it, I think, is because I never really got a chance to chop it up with my audience like that. So through this type of platform, you know, I get to reach out, share an experience with them. You know, it gives them a better feel when it comes to the music. You know, it like gives it another dimension, you know, insight, understanding.
And also because you're also a music artist. So I felt the podcast was the best thing for you. So that way you could tell your own stories which you have in your music throughout this whole 15-year journey. And this is not much different than doing an album, because at the end of the day, you're telling your own story. You're able to pace yourself and get more in depth and give us the details, give us your emotions, and do it in a poetic way, because you are the poet. And that's how we recorded this podcast. Conejo sits down in his own free time. He meditates and gets into his podcast mode, and then we edit it later and figure it out. Did you feel like that's was the best way to start the podcast?
It was, because really that's where the shit started. You know, like when the journey started, it ended that day, and then the new journey started. You know, the new chapter in the book started. So, I mean, and I think a lot of people, like when that happened, that shit fucked a lot of people up, because I thought that was a wrap. It was the end of me. You know, like I was everybody's like go-to secret weapon. Like I got that new CON shit, and I think at that moment they were like, that's it, there's no more. Whatever he left us is what, you know, we're stuck with. And you know, sometimes, you know, when like you don't know what you got until you've lost it. So I think they felt that at that moment, even though I made it out of that, but at that moment they, you know, it was like it got snatched from them, and they're like, damn.
It was like a reality, and see that you were like in TJ and see the reports and everybody spreading it, everybody putting it on Instagram. And back then Instagram was fresh.
Yeah.
So it was like everybody, oh shit, they got the homie, the legend, and everybody was hitting me up because they knew my attachment with him. I really couldn't believe it. And even with Jay, I guess he got snatched up around that same time. Or how long after that?
About a month after.
A month after. So I was expecting to hear something from him or some type of like information. And
no, they got him like the day before. I think the day before Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I remember, because that the day we were like, I was on the phone with him from Supermax, and I was just like, hey, send some flowers to my mom, and then send some flowers to my girl, and those went out, because my mom got the flowers.
And to clarify, Jay is his manager. It was crazy because in a way, you did feel like at that point when you were arrested, like you lost it all. And it's a trip, because by losing it all, you were able to gain everything plus more.
Yeah.
And it's just to see like your progression and even your mind state change has been really interesting to even observe you from a close range, to even see you how. At what point in your journey did spirituality meet Conejo? Like, what happened? Was it a certain event? Was it curiosity? What drove you there, and why? Or
I think that, I mean, it's kind of crazy the way it happened, but because I never, like, I think like spirituality, you don't seek it, it seeks you, it finds you. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, let me see, should I get into this shit? I could tell you how it all really started for me.
Go for it.
Basically, it started like this. I was in Jalisco, and then Choker from Brownside, he had got out. Choker from Brownside was with my boy Looney and Ironwood, so they knew each other. So as soon as Choker got deported, he linked up with my boy. So Choker was like, "Hey, I got somebody that wanna sign the homie. He wanna get him a lawyer. He wanna do this. He wanna do that." So, you know, fly down. So boom, I jump on a plane from Jalisco. I touch down in Baja. I already had a pad in Baja. I was already living there, but I had just been over there. So I came back down, and then we meet up. And then so I remember I already had the Antichrist mixtape because I played it for them that day. And then so, you know, we're listening to it, whatever, and homeboy that came down basically was like, "I can't fuck with you until you don't talk to my madrina." So I was like madrina, like what? What's that or what? And then so the following week they bring her down, you know. And then so I pull up to this house that was on the beach, this it's one of the low key kinds that we would, you know, it was like an office, where we would meet up and shit like that. It was on like this in this dead end in this private little community right on the beach. So I pull up over there this one night, and I see this lady all dressed in white, all kinds of fucking beads around her neck, and then
At that point, did it freak you out?
man, it freaked me
Didn't
out.
it freak you out like, oh shit, it's weird? Like, what the fuck is going on?
I knew it was some voodoo shit right away.
Yeah.
Like already, like just by seeing her, and then I don't know if it was her husband or her assistant, another dude dressed in white. Now when I see, I recognize the attire, but right there I was like, all right, the fuck up. I knew it was some kind of priesthood or something to that. Entonces, so basically, I start chopping it up with her, y la señora me empieza a tirar las cartas. She's a tarot card reader. She's a santera,
Mm-hmm.
but she's a tarot card reader as well. So she's like, sit down, I'm gonna read the cards on you here.
Yeah.
Touch the stack. Here, flip the stack for me, touch it, breathe on it. I don't know what the fuck. She told me all these little procedures to do. Y she starts throwing the cards. Boom, 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 boom. She throws all the cards. And she's like, everything looks good. And I remember asking her, I'm like, it don't say nothing about that I'm wanted, that the police is looking for me. She's like, nah, you're straight. And then I'm like, all right. So then she's like, she does it again, round 2.
Yeah.
Same shit. I gotta touch the deck. She flips it. I flip it. Then she shuffles it. And then she lays them out again. She tells me this. She tells me that. And then I ask her again, does it say anything right there about the law? She's like, nah, there's nothing with the law right there.
How long were you in the run at this point? Average, kind of give it an estimate. Some years already? Some years for sure?
Yeah, for sure some years, because we would have to do the math when the Antichrist mixtape exactly came out.
So at least around 6-7 years at that point.
Could be, I don't know, 5, 4, I don't know,
Okay.
something like that. And then so she does it a third time. She says everything's cool, but next time, like, she's all like, I'm gonna be back in a week, so I want to see you in a week. So this next time I meet up with her, I go straight to the compound. That's where fucking Toker lived.
Yeah.
Like passing Rosarito, like off the side of the carretera. And then, pero this time cuando llego para allá,
Yeah.
I see a fucking goat right there.
Uh-huh.
They got goats, roosters, all kinds of fucking farm animals right there. And I already see homeboy. I'm talking to the lady, but I see homeboy over there like reciting some chants, and he's doing some kind of prayers,
Yeah.
and something's going on. And then I see Toker. Toker's all dressed in white, and his head's wrapped up.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh shit, like.
It's just some real shit. Shit got real.
So I go into this shit, and I basically se me hace que me hacen una limpia. I didn't really see lo que me hicieron because they blindfolded me.
Yeah.
I can only speculate, and now by knowing, like, from being involved and seeing it more, now I know that's most likely what happened. They did something. I don't know. I remember they cut me, like they cut my tongue with something, and I could have sworn it was the beak of the fucking rooster or some shit, or maybe even a knife. I don't know. But whatever they did, like, whatever it was that they did, and then like hearing the prayers and everything she was saying, and just all that tobacco smoke on me, and
Did you drink anything? Did they give you something to drink?
I don't even remember. But I know that after that, I was in the zone. I felt. Motherfucker felt bulletproof, invisible.
Oh, okay.
Like that shit was like psychological. That shit, it worked because I just felt untouchable at that moment, So, and I remember she gave me this bead, this beaded necklace. They call them eleques. So she gave me one, and the one she gave me, it represents the santo named Ochosi, and Ochosi represents justice. So, and it's used, they use Ochosi in court cases and shit like that. And basically, I just remember saying that, like, no matter what, like, Ochosi was going to have my back. And to this day, I wear that elect. I was wearing it yesterday, when I went up to Cedar Park. And
So you still have that original piece?
I have that one.
Oh,
I
that's
always
dope.
wear it. I always
Okay.
wear it. So then, shit fell apart with Homeboy. It didn't work out. I went on,
Yeah.
and then
You still practiced it from? Did you took it or you put it up on hold for a little bit?
Nah, I didn't. It got me hungry, like, for knowledge
Okay.
to know.
It opened you up for a
It
new
opened
world.
me up to try to find out and know and then, like, little signs were popping up and this and that and in Mexico there's a deity that's like real big that people like they people venerate like tough, which is La Santa Muerte, and I already had one, and before all of this, I didn't believe in none of that shit. My family, they're like hardcore Catholics, hardcore Christians, hardcore Jehovah's Witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
So I always had that like grandparents, crazy Catholics.
Okay.
Like
From the motherland.
yeah. So then, like, my moms and her brothers, sisters, like, they're kind of divided. Some of them are Catholic, some of them are Christians, and then some of them are like Jehovah's Witnesses.
Okay.
So Christianity's always been a big part of my family, one way or another,
Yeah.
And then but there's some new shit,
Yeah.
And then me, I'm digging, trying to find out, and then I like signs start popping up on me, and then I start meeting santeros. I start, and then I start asking questions.
Which is expected out of you because, like, you have that trait where if you like something, you're gonna go crazy, all in.
All in, yeah. So I meet this black dude, un cubano, and then he had this little shop, and I already have been researching, and I pull up on him, and then I'm like, I seen he had a bunch of stuff for sale, and then I was like, oh shit, this collar right here is Elewan, this one's Yemaya, this one's Ochun, this one's Obatala, this one's Chango. I already start knowing about this, so somehow I run into this lady que es una santera, and the same shit. I start asking. I'm like, "What's up? How can I get that?" And this was like the basic when you receive your collares. And she's like, "Well, this ceremony costs this much." And then that's when I found out that this like that like spirituality had a fucking price on it. If you're just on the outside looking in, it has like a price on it. So I'm like, fine, I'll do this shit. And then let's do it right now. She's like, nah, you can't. Come back on Monday, bring back a whole set of clothes, white, everything from boxers to socks to shoes to everything white. So that made me think, okay, that's what probably what Choker had done.
Kind of like a baptism in a way.
It's like a baptism.
Okay.
Yeah. So I pull up this one day, and the ceremony takes place where they like rip your clothes off, they cut it off your body. There's a ring of fire around you. They use animals to like, cleanse you. Blood is spilled, and that shit was like.
It didn't freak you out? Like you didn't like, oh shit, what the fuck am I doing? Nah.
Man, I was wanted.
At that point, it was
like mass
inexperience.
Going on, and there was a lot of shit going on over there. People I know was going missing. They were killing people. People were getting dismembered, and
at the same time, you also realize that even this type of culture is within that whole Mexico culture and cartel culture. Not cartel, but just like in that.
It's big in Mexico.
Big, yeah.
The Afro-Cuban religions are huge in Mexico.
Okay, so it comes from you also seeing that. That's why you were also more engaged with it.
Yeah, so whatever. I go through a little baptism, whatever. Motherfuckers feeling like the Dalai Lama, like I'm floating on one toe, like
feeling like Gandhi.
Like Gandhi and shit. So I'm excited about it, and then I start pulling up to these, like, they'll have like these little functions, these drumming ceremonies, and I remember this one that really like that I remember, I pull up to the it's a botanica,
Yeah.
I pull up to the botanica, but some strange, like some type of like I could tell when I see agents and shit.
Botanica, for those who don't know, is like kind of like people that cure with natural remedies.
Yeah.
And that's where you get your like low key natural remedies.
They sell candles and do fucking spells for motherfuckers like
sex,
yeah,
shit
fucking
for your lover, shit.
las enamarres and all this bullshit. Like it's like a 1-2 stop. Like it's like a little
It fix you up.
they fix you up real quick. Y llego y like they open the door and they're like, come in. And then, but see, when I walked up to it, I was already there. In front, there was fucking, I'm gonna say que eran PFP, federales, like SWAT team down in the front of the little two of them. So I'm thinking like, oh shit, like when I hit the corner, if I would have just did a U-turn, it would have been too obvious. So I had to go straight to the door. So I'm thinking like they're arresting somebody in there, and as I walk in, I hear there's a drumming going on. There's something going on in the back, like not in the front of the. You go through these like little
Yeah.
And like how they have those things like those curtains of beads.
The beads, yeah.
Yeah, you go through that shit and then voila. So I go in there and I'm like, I see a gang of people, like some dudes in business suits, some in regular attire, dudes all strapped up, females. You could tell there's different classes of like.
Was it multicultural?
Yeah, multicultural and even economic levels. You
Okay.
can tell who's, this person is
CEO of this,
something. This person's a doctor. This person's a fucking
killer.
yeah, this female's a prostitute.
Yeah.
This female's a school teacher. So me being there, I was like, oh shit, I like this get down. It's cool. They ain't gonna, I didn't go out there and tell them I'm a fugitive, and then like there was a dude that was there, and then he leaves, and when he leaves, he's being escorted by the police, so I know he's like a big dog. They escort him out, so they would
Like a politician shit type.
No. This was some like this fool was like este era de la maña de la gente, like
okay.
like some cartel shit.
Oh, okay.
So, for the most part, I was just real observant. I didn't really like talk, really ask no questions. So basically, what I would just observe, and whatever I observe, I didn't really ask no questions. I would just like go back and research it on my own. And then that, which is a religion called Regla de Ocha, which people call Santeria. I met somebody right there. That from there I went on to something called Palo Mayombe, Palo Monte. And then it's another like.
So like the variation of different.
Yeah, it's another Afro-Cuban religion. Like this one's like by way of the Congo. Like the Regla de Ocho is like by way of Nigeria. And then later another one would come into play, which is called Ifa, which is sort of like runs like parallel with Regla de Ocho.
Which is interesting because it all stems from like African-Cuban religion.
Yeah.
The trip to even find it in Mexico.
Yeah. See, before I had went on the run, I had these boys from the Fiji Islands and shit, and I remember this one time, long time ago, before I went on the run, like I was posted up in front of these apartments selling dope, where I would sell dope. That was my spot. So I'm posted there selling dope, and they call me and they're like, hey, what's up? We're gonna go to San Pedro. You wanna roll with us? They're like, all right, just get a towel. So I'm thinking, we're gonna go to the beach, go, some kind of like beach activity type shit,
Yeah.
So I just like knock on like a random door in the apartment building. Lady opens up and I just ask her for a towel. I'm like, oiga, no tiene una toalla que no quiera que yo pueda usar.
Yeah.
Lady's looking at me like, the fuck? She just knocked on my door and asked me for a towel. This the guy stands outside the apartment selling dope all day, or stands sits on the stairs selling dope, asking me for a towel.
She's probably think trying to jack her or something.
Yeah, so she gives me a towel. I go out to the curb. These fools pull up, and the little benzo. I jump in the benzo. I'm smoking weed all the way to San Pedro. Window down. It's just I didn't ask no questions. We pull up to this pad in San Pedro. We get there and I see a gang of natives, a gang of Native Americans, and then I seen these two big tables, like banquet tables with a gang of food on it, like turkeys, pies,
yeah,
potato salad, all kinds of food. And by now, motherfucker had the munchies.
Yeah.
And out of all these people, I see one white guy, this one like Rastafarian looking white guy, but everybody was like native. So we're there, and I remember I seen a fire. And I just thought it was, like a bonfire or some shit. And then I seen these two like structures, which I thought it was a fucking teepee since, I put it together. Okay, these guys are Indians.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? A teepee? But what it was a sweat lodge. So
Yeah, you put it together. What the fuck is that? A teepee?
yeah. So then, my boys that took me, they're out there mingling with. They know these people,
Yeah.
and so, next thing you know, they're like, hey, we're gonna have to strip down and down to our boxers, and we're gonna have to go inside that the sweat lodge. But I still don't know what it is or what. And I'm like, all right. So I'm in my boxers. We go in there. We sit down. Whatever. So what happens
At
was,
this point, like, how many deep? How many people were there?
man, this was a big sweat lodge. This was a big one. There was a lot of people. I don't know. I can't recall how many.
Yeah.
But what I do recall, there was a lot of elders, like a lot of elders, like old, like triple OG, like Native Americans there. And then and later I find out that there's a Lakota, there's a Sioux. There's a Sioux Indians, the Lakotas. And then so we go in there, and that fire that I had seen was the rocks, these volcanic rocks that they heat up, that they're about to bring into to the sweat lodge. So then all the sweat lodge gets covered with blankets. It's wrapped up to where it's dark. You can't even see, you can't see your hand in front of your face. That's how dark it is in there. So they start bringing in the rocks. They close the door and they start drumming. They start singing songs. Man, that shit got hot as fuck for me.
Yeah.
And no one's the thing is, no one schooled me. No one told me nothing. The only thing they told me, they're like, hey, if it gets too hot for you, go down to the ground, dig out a little bit of dirt, cuff your hands up like this, and breathe. Like the Mother Earth's gonna give you oxygen.
Wow.
So I did that. I did that shit in round 1.
Oh shit.
So and they're over here singing long ass songs. They're singing these long songs. Round 1 was long as, well, for a person that never experienced a sweat ceremony, it seemed long as fuck to me. So now they open up the door after let's just say 25 minutes of they open up the door and they start bringing in more rocks.
Oh shit.
So every round was getting hotter, man. I felt like I couldn't escape. Like I felt like the whole sweat lodge was full of spirits, and the spirits were hitting me from the left, from the right, like. There's gonna come a time when they reveal themselves to you. I'm talking about the gods, or even the Creator himself. You could hear through my music. It's spiritual in every sense of the word. The metaphors, the concepts, just the way of thinking. You see, it's in that darkness, del temazcal, that I faced a lot of my demons. But at the same time, I was pulled through and guided by my ancestors. All my relations say when. That shit.
At one point, did you feel like, damn, I might break? I might have to get the fuck out?
Yeah, I did. I did. I felt like I was gonna break. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't. Yeah. But once you get over that point, you just accept it what it is, and your breathing goes slower, and you calm down. But there's a moment where panic hits you. So we do the sweat. And then after the sweat, we come out, we dry off, we do something else, part of the ceremony, and then we we eat, and then so I had that sweat with me. Fast forward into the future, into the spirituality, I end up through the Afro-Cuban religions, I end up bumping into a homie that was from San Diego, Logan Heights.
Okay. And
he had just got out. He had just did 10 years in the feds and 5 in the state. And then at first, honestly, I thought he was just que era mexicano de Mexico. No sabía que era homie because he looked low key. He didn't look all paisar out or no se miraba chuntar or nothing like that. But I just, I wasn't trying to judge him or nothing. I didn't know. So then one day we start talking at the Botanica. He introduces himself, and then I tell him, more or less a little bit about where I came from, and right away, he asked me for my boy Looney, and he goes, wait a minute, he goes, oh, okay, so then, do you know, he tells me, you know Looney, and if you know Looney, then you must be, he like put it together like
Oh
that.
shit.
And the crazy thing is that Looney's dad is a lifer. Looney's dad's been down like 35 years.
Oh shit.
And he was in Ironwood with him too, with Looney's dad.
shit.
Es un paisa de Sinaloa que le dicen el burro, like he known, you know.
About how old was this OG? How old was he?
Oh, the homie from
Yeah,
Logan.
from
He's just a
Logan.
couple years older than me.
Oh, okay.
A couple years older than me. And then but you know, like, you know, he, and the thing is he's from Nayarit. And Looney's mom is from Nayarit.
They're coras.
Son goras. Y entonces, you know, it was just like a little, you know, that linked everything up between us, and I started fucking with him. He was my boy. So him and his boys already were running a sweat.
Okay.
So one day they're like,
And then this is sweater in what, in Baja California?
yeah, in Baja. So they're like, he tells me one day like, hey, we're gonna have a sweat, and I'm like, what's up? Can I pull up? He's like, let me ask, and they're like, yeah, you could pull up. So I remember that I already, you know, so when I started sweating with them, like constantly, like
So it became like a workout for you, in a way.
it became like, it's cause like to describe a sweat, to me a sweat is like, well, first of all, like when you go into sweat, it's like you're going back into the womb. The womb, and to back,
Interesting.
you know, to the mother, you know. And then like I feel like right there you just, man, you let it all out, like just everything toxic, whether it's like, you know, like mental, physical, you know, spirit, like whatever, that shit's gonna come out right there. And
Yeah.
and all your demons, they come to that. For me, that's my experience. Every time I fucking sweat, my demons show up in round one. They show up like with vengeance, and they're
They're there to beat you.
they're there to like you know, because that's what you do when you go to you go to sweat lodge. You're gonna go there to suffer. You're gonna go there and sacrifice for the ones that can't, you know.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna face the music.
you know, yeah, you're gonna go face the music, and you're gonna suffer for the ones that were there, the ones that are there now, and the ones that are to come, you know. So that shit, that's another thing that helped me,
Mhm.
you know, that just, and then with time, as time went on, you know, I just got deeper into the Afro-Cuban religions. I got deeper into Palo Monte, and I used all that to like just balance out.
Yeah, and you could even see it in your music, how because it also did it change your music perspective, or did it do anything for your music?
I mean, yeah, it probably did, because I whatever I'm going through, it's always in my music.
Yeah.
So that became like,
We started dropping little words, right? You started
yeah,
dropping
I
little
started
words, little
like hints,
phrases,
and like, yeah,
and people pick up on that. They
Yeah,
pick
yeah.
up like, oh shit, he's into that.
yeah. So, you know, but even before that, I would say like even from the start, even though I didn't know nothing about that, I think it was still like this whole ride has been like a spiritual journey for me, because like just my life, my personal life has had a lot of ups and downs, and every time I hit, or I'm about to hit rock bottom, the music is what snatches me back up.
Yeah.
I'm about to hit the ground, it like pulls me right off the ground, and it uplifts me, you know. So that in itself
It
is
is music,
is
yeah.
like, you know, some, you know, spiritual, or
Well, the music led you to the spirituality, and music led you to where you're at now. So yeah, I can see that. The biggest surprise to me was finding out that you were a single father throughout this whole journey.
even like, okay, like being like a father, but being on the run, you gotta like compartmentalize.
Yeah.
You gotta.
And did that change you? Like, I'm sure, of course, it changes you.
It's because you gotta keep everything separate.
Yeah.
Even though you love your kids, you're still a
you can't-
fugitive.
Okay, I get it.
You're still in a state of war.
Yeah.
You're still in a game of like backstabbing, treachery.
Snakes, yeah.
You're still in the game where like you can't, like, you have trust issues, you know. But at the same time, you're trying to play it out for your daughter, make it seem like everything is perfect, you know. And so, I mean, I think like fatherhood for anybody, that shit changes anybody, you know. But you just, I mean, I guess you just adapt and shit, and make it work the best you can according to your situation, you know.
And also for you, it's more special because that's basically all you had, right?
That's all I have.
And that she was all you had.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
at the same time, yeah, you're living for her in this chaos.
Well, like I feel like it changed me in the way that like it just like even like upped my survival skills even more.
Yeah.
Because when I didn't have her, like when I didn't have my daughter, it was just me. So at the end of the day, like I feel like I'm expendable, you know, like if you know if I die in the trenches or I die in the process or whatever it is I'm trying to accomplish, fuck it, it's just me, you know. But when like a child comes into the picture, you know, for them you're all they got.
Yeah.
So it changes the dynamic of everything, and
And they don't even know what's going on.
they don't know about, even though, you know, like sometimes my daughter will be like, I want to sit in the back with my iPad, and I'll be like, no, sit in the front, because if they see us together in the front, we're not gonna get pulled over. And she didn't get it. No, I want to go in the back. And then she probably would get mad at me because I'll be like, man, sit your ass in the front with me.
Yeah.
You know, just on some like, just to be more incognito, like, okay, that's a family man. Let's leave him alone. They won't.
And I'm sure for her, it was kind of like it became as natural where she didn't even think too much into it.
Nah,
she was just being a child. She was just
because you know, she sat next to me and recorded all those albums.
Wow.
Next to me, playing with Monster High, like next to me, not even making no noise. I'll tell her, like, shh, be quiet, I'm gonna do my voice. And she just be right there next to me. Not, you know, she sat there and recorded whatever 80 albums in Mexico by my side. You know.
What are your top most life-changing moments in the run? Obviously, one was your daughter. Besides your daughter, top three, like that it could be the high, it could be the lowest, but just things that kind of like just stay in your mind. Like,
I miss Baja, I miss Mexico, because I feel like once I went over there and once I knew that I could never come back, I felt like, fuck it, this is home. Even though like the homie always used to tell me, hey fool, this home, and I'll be like, hell no, this is your home. But once I accepted it, I embraced that shit, and I just like, I became like 100% Mexicano, you know, and I didn't even care about the U.S. At that point. I didn't care about that. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'll roll to Europe. I'll roll here. I'll roll there. The world's too big for me to think about. Oh, the U.S. is the most important thing. I didn't care, you know. But I think like.
But it's dope to even see you go back in a way to your like native roots.
Yeah.
And be able to experience it, like actually living there as a civilian, not just like as a visitor or like a tourist.
Yeah, it's different.
It's different.
Like I remember when I got there, my grandfather was still alive, my mother's father, and you know, he would just like tell me stories. Like he owns a lot of land, you know, like over there it's Caña.
And where are they at? Where part of Mexico?
And right there was Ameca, Jalisco.
Jalisco, okay.
Which is like about 35-40 minutes from Guadalajara.
Yeah.
So my family be in Guadalajara, Zapopan. They be in like, you know, Jalisco, and then Ameca's like right next to Tala. And my grandfather would be like, take me to my fields, because he couldn't drive at that point no more. So I like get his truck, and like he just wanted to be sit in the middle of his cornfields, sit in the middle of his sugarcane fields,
That's dope.
Sit in the middle of the fucking agave, and just there.
That's dope though. That's dope.
Since my grandpa was old, I'd be like, hold on, I'm gonna take a piss real quick. So I'll go in the middle of the corn.
Agave, that's for the tequila, right?
Yeah, that's how you make tequila.
Yeah, that's actually a dope fucking memory, like to be with your grandfather in Mexico.
Yeah.
In the tequila town, in the agave, that's dope.
And then like I like going to the field, like, you know, maybe like 30 feet away from him.
Yeah.
And then just fucking blow like a fat joint, take a piss, come back, and then he just like tell me stories. He'd tell me stories about when he was young, and that he, you know, when the war was going on in Mexico, he would love to, like, they had like basically they had like underground dances going on in the war.
Dope, bro.
And they would like sneak to like these underground parties and dance and shit, you know. And then my other grandfather that was already passed away, like I found out about him, like he was a cristero. There was a war in Mexico it was like a cristero war, and basically it was like the church went against the government.
Okay.
So my grandfather was on the side of the church, and it was just like he's just like murking fools, like government fools. He's just murking fools, government fools, and then in the end, you know, like, cause I found old school weapons in a chest that belonged to him, you know.
Okay.
Like a lot of his memorabilia is right there at his house. So, and then, you know, later he became, it's crazy because he went against the government, and later in life he became like, he went into politics. So I see all the, like,
like banners y banderas del PRI, like that was el partido that he,
Yeah.
that he belonged to, so, all those things.
That's dope to even know that type of history, bro. Like, because that's no one's gonna be able to tell you that, like, here in the U.S., like, oh yeah, like, I went back and I was with my grandfather and we spent time in the field. I learned the history. I learned his history, and that's gems right there.
Yeah, and then then I learned about my family that my grandfather's family, like they were Asian.
Okay.
They were Chinese, Japanese.
Okay.
His family, so like then I get
That's
it why
dope.
when my mom and all her sisters are posted up together, they all look like Filipino for some reason. But now I learned that
Interesting, yeah.
he has we come from Asians and shit.
Yeah, because Mexico, honestly, everybody from Mexico, you can't put them together because everybody has attachments to another country.
Yeah.
Because I know my grandfather from Jalisco, he was Spanish. My great grandfather from Spain. So it's a trip because it's like we're all multicultural within Mexico. They can't really put us all because we all have variations of that. We're all indigenous, but we also have variations of other cultures.
And another thing about like Mexico, I remember before I had went on the run, I had started martial arts training. I started training Kempo and Kempo Jiu-Jitsu.
Which it shows in the music, huh?
Yeah, that shit's in the music too. So I had, my sensei was Richard Alexander Mosquita. He has that dojo right now in Echo Park.
Which I see him working with David Ayer.
Yeah, he works with a lot of like, as a matter of fact, he works with a lot of like Hollywood people. Pull up to the dojo.
That's dope. To even see that full circle in that little thing, that was dope.
Yeah.
Like you left working with him, you came back and somehow some of your homies are working with him.
Yeah.
That's trippy.
Before I left, he didn't have a dojo. We would work out at like down from the observatory, Los Feliz, at the park. That was the training. We work out like every.
That's crazy to even think about you and your highest gangbanging days. To even see you at the park, like training. That's dope. That's crazy. I think that's what separates you from a lot of motherfuckers, bro. Like those little details that you were always curious for different things.
Yeah, for knowledge.
For knowledge.
Because it's like self-knowledge at the end of the day.
In a way, it was taking you away from your reality at home and in the streets. It was like a different environment.
Yeah.
Like this is my safe zone where I could do something different.
And so the style, the art was called Kempo, which means fist law, the law of the fist.
And did Wu-Tang inspire this? 'Cause I know you're a big Wu-Tang fan.
I mean,
did Wu-Tang not inspire, but it kind of like
because
in a way like,
you know what? If you go way back, this is way back, like the 80s, late 80s and shit like that. All the kids we used to watch on Channel 5. They used to be like on the weekends. They had something called Kung Fu Theater. And we used to watch all those movies.
Yeah.
Wu-Tang wasn't even on the fucking map at that point. And we were already into watching all the Shaolin movies, all that shit. That was probably across the whole U.S. That probably inspired them at the same time. We were watching that on this side,
It makes sense, perfectly sense.
Yes. So...
I'm sure y'all were watching both the same fucking cartoons.
We were over there doing like ghetto karate and shit with fucking sticks and the like fools will get socked out on the block and like
I feel like we all went through that. We were all wanting to be ninjas. And,
So I have been training and I had like a purple or a blue belt when I went on the run.
Oh shit.
So when I get to Mexico, I'm running around and where I'm living at, like there was a book that was the history of my whole town, of my family's town.
Oh.
So I get a hold of that book, and I remember there was a story about there's this one like some kind of reptilian demon like folklore story.
Okay.
Some animal called Chavarin con cola. It was like a half man, half fucking kimono dragon type shit.
Yeah.
Like if you see the pictures in the book, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
There's stories that my uncle squabbled up with it in the river, and they fought in the river trying to snatch it.
Oh, shit.
So I always heard these stories since I was a kid. Like my parents were like, te va a salir ese cabrón y te va a llevar or whatever,
Yeah.
Entonces I got the book.
That's actually dope to have a family myth like that. Like,
yeah. It's like el chamuco type
yeah,
shit.
Yeah, it's like a Llorona.
La Llorona. Yeah. Over there, the
like
Llorona.
Your grandma met the Llorona once.
Over there, as a matter of fact, La Llorona was huge.
she is a...
Bitch was huge over there.
She is huge out here.
And then, so as I'm looking through this book, I come across, they they had a Kempo martial
Yeah.
arts school in that town
Mm-hmm.
that had been established for like the last like it's been there since the late 70s.
Mm.
So I look at the little address, and when I went on the run, I took my gi, my martial arts gi with me, and for some reason I just took it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about it, I just grabbed it and threw it in my bag, and I took it with me.
That's trippy. That's an interesting little
So
detail.
so I find out the address of this dojo in Mexico that's like half a mile away from my house. I walk over there,
Hey, you should have a comic book. That'd be dope.
and yeah, cause
That would be dope. That would be dope.
and so I go over there and shit, and I ask them, hey, is it cool if I work out with you guys? They're like, yeah. So they looked at me like, oh shit, this fool got Kempo patches. He's like one of us, but from the U.S. So I became friends with them. I became friends with the sensei. I started working out,
And-
training with them like every day.
And
Like-
they would never ask you like where you from, because
Yeah,
obviously
they did.
they know you're American.
They knew me as Angel. That was like the ID, the identity I had in those times was Angel. So they always knew me as Angel. So they would be like, as a matter of fact, it was Angel Caro. And then
That's crazy. That's my middle name, Angel. That's trippy.
so I ended up getting a black belt from them.
Oh, shit.
I trained like daily with them, like hard. That
And this was in Jalisco.
This was in Jalisco.
Okay.
But I was, when I got the black belt, I was in Baja, and then they called me one time like, it's time for you to come take your black belt test, and I flew down there and I took it, and then
And you were flying in Mexico.
I was flying all over the place.
That's what tripped me out.
And internationally, I flew out of Mexico to other countries.
Whoa.
So we were loving it. Like there was a lot of like cold-blooded shit that happened in Mexico.
Yeah.
That it would scare the average motherfucker, like
Yeah.
scare straight type shit. But I mean, you just gotta adapt to your environment, and when you're on survival mode, then you don't. To me, like, it was just all this shit was just giving me more content from my music, honestly.
Well, yeah.
And if I didn't have the music, I probably would have lost my mind, because
That's true.
that was my outlet,
And that's where a lot of fools get stabbed with their music. Like, they don't have new experiences.
Yeah,
They're
they
just stuck smoking weed with the same topic, same experiences every day. Studio, weed. They don't
Yeah,
get
yeah.
out of that same.
They don't-
You were out here living crazy,
yeah.
experiencing
See,
different shit.
back to the original question, was like something memorable that happened to me over there. One, the first thing, like big enough, was when I went to the pyramids in Mexico City.
Wow.
So here I'm at the pyramids in Mexico City, and those shits are enormous, and then once you're at the bottom and you look up, you feel like an ant.
Yeah.
Like it's just big. Like, okay, because basically it's like la pirámide del Sol y la
Yeah.
pirámide de la Luna.
Yeah.
And then la Avenida de los Muertos, which is a big like street in the middle of the shit, all the way down, with like smaller pyramids all alongside of it. Across from it, I think it's el Templo de Quetzalcoatl. And then, so we climbed up. We went up to the top of the pyramids and shit. And these steps, they're real slim, but they're real steep. So they're like tall. So you kind of gotta step like
It's
sideways.
like a workout. Yeah.
And when you're there, they're taking people up there that are like straight like wheelchair status. It's crazy. And then there's like some kind of energy up there that they heal people with, and they're like people up there cleansing people with sage and all this shit. So me, I'm still with my LA ways, so I'm up there fucking coked the fuck up from partying. Like the people I went with were fucking
They were on one.
sniffing yay for like 3 days, so, and we've been drinking and all that shit. The next day we go up there, and I remember, and there's a picture. I've been trying to find it. I got it in my pad in Mexico. I'm gonna upload it when I bring it.
We should put that on the we should release some if you have like memorabilia.
Well, it'll probably be on the Patreon.
on the Patreon.
On the inside.
We'll talk
inside.
about that later. Yeah.
And then so, I climb up, and I just was like, man, I was out of it. But once I was up there, and then you look down, then motherfuckers are smaller than an ant. You're like, damn, this shit is. And you imagine all that shit, the whatever, like human sacrifices and throwing bodies down the steps and shit, because if they're so huge. Let's just say you climb up 1/3 of the way and you fall, you're breaking every bone in your body.
Oh,
Let's
shit.
just say you climb up 2/3 of the way and you fall down, you're fucking dead.
And how long did it take you to reach the top?
It takes a minute.
A minute,
That's what I'm
okay.
saying. You gotta be real careful. They even got rails there because I know motherfuckers that fell off them shits. The stair is dangerous. The way they're built is just like real steep.
Yeah.
It don't look like that, but once you're there, it's real steep. It's like if it looks like this,
Yeah.
and then the steps are real skinny and real tall. So it's like it's just.
And I hear that those are also made for acoustics. Somehow, if you stand on one pyramid and you stand to the next, you could literally talk to that person. There's some weird.
I didn't test that out, but
Yeah.
but you know what? Once I was on top and I looked down, to me, what it looked like a circuit board. And the only thing that popped up in my head, like, man, this is some alien shit. This is some, like,
interesting.
that's what came to my mind. You know, like some type of craft must have landed here, or
Yeah.
or gave them the blueprint to make this shit, or something, because it looked like a circuit board. Like when you crack open a radio,
Yeah.
you see the green circuit board.
That's very interesting that you from
That's-
that angle you see like that.
That's the way it looked to me, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was one of the things that I was gonna like mention this, that I remember being at a what they call casas de seguridad, like a stash house, and then you know, everybody in the house, you know, there's choppers everywhere. Everybody there's just like, you're on call. Let's just leave it at that. You're on call for whatever, and everybody's strapped up, whatever. But I was in this house, and I'd be practicing katas, forms, martial arts forms. And I remember like my boy telling me like, what the fuck's that gonna help you?
Like fuck all that weird shit on.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Fool, with this shit blow you the fuck away. All that fucking Bruce Lee shit ain't gonna work. But the thing is that all the martial arts, along with the spirituality, all this shit kept my sanity. You know, so you know, because it's gotta be mental,
It helped your
physical,
mind. Yeah.
and you
That
know,
is true.
spiritual. So it helped me
In order
like
to survive, yeah.
when you're stressed out and you do those workouts, because I meditated the whole time I was on the run.
And that's what it helps your judgment, right? It helps your judgment.
Your judgment.
That way you don't
and-
panic and fuck up.
Yeah, so you know, I had all those, like I'm gonna say they were like weapons, you know, meditation,
Yeah, meditation.
martial arts, spirituality, all that. Like those were like,
Yeah.
you know, like.
That's dope. And at this point, it's been like what 15 plus years since you're back, and now you're here, you're free.
I'm free, but at the same time I'm not, and I don't think I'll never. I don't like now. I don't want to like accept it, or I don't know. I'm gonna say it, but because I don't want to believe it, but at this moment I feel like I'll never be free. You know, I don't know if it's the PTSD from just being a fugitive so many years,
Yeah.
that it's just now natural to like look out the blinds, you know, set up cameras to look outside,
Yeah.
see what cars are following me, count cars, you know, never go straight home, like always turn different blocks.
I feel like at this point you could work for the CIA.
Yeah.
On some like, so you went through some shit, and so it's great to even see like your survival skills are still intact. Like you never turn the shit off, right? You're still like always like.
Yeah, it doesn't, you know, maybe sometimes it's not you know, I'm not gonna say that I loosened up too much, because I haven't. I'm on it, but
Yeah.
you know, like, but you know, it's a totally different environment here from over there, you know.
Yeah.
Over there, you don't know if the fucking the taquero could be working for either the government
Or he's the one calling you
or
up
a
to
rival
do, yeah.
a rival group, and he's gonna, you know, inform whoever he has to inform. He just left. He just made a turn. He just got off at the store. You don't know. It happens here too. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's happening here. I'm sure the guy out there supposedly fixing the phone lines is
Yeah.
probably, you know, trying to see what's going on in the neighborhood, really, like for an agency, you know. But it's just a different environment. Over there, it's just like blatant. It's all in your face.
Yeah. And when you touch home back in LA, when you were already free, and you will kind of like go through the days of kind of like seeing how the world is now, did you expect already what you saw? Did you expect seeing the changes in even the neighborhoods. They're no longer as active. People are no longer out there no more like that. There's more low key. It's more progressive. It's more gentrified. Did you already see that from Mexico, or was it all like a new thing to you when you came here?
Well, just like on.
Or even the cops, how the cops act now, they're different than before.
Yeah.
And you used to see like, did you expect it, or was it still like a culture shock for a while?
I think I expected it, but at the same time, it was still culture shock.
Yeah,
You know,
like phone, getting an iPhone and.
Yeah. I never really like fuck with smartphones. When the whole time I was on the run, it was just like those little dominoes.
Yeah.
From the fucking
The
Oxxo.
Nokias.
Yeah, little throwaways. Use them for a week, dump it,
Mm-hmm.
get another one. You know, chirps. We're using those boost chirps.
So
Nextels.
was it weird for you to enter your information on the new phone? Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because nowadays you got to enter your social. I mean, like your credit card numbers.
Yeah.
So was that a trip? Technology, was it a trip?
Nah, cause you know my girl, she was on it. Everything was set up for me. It was kind of like here.
Okay. Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Like I never got to run none of my accounts, none of my social media platforms. I never ran nothing that's associated with me. I never ran it. I never had nothing to do with it. I did, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying? It was run remotely by someone that honestly I didn't even know.
Yeah.
You know, even my girl, she's like, so how long do you know Prime? I go, 2018.
Yeah.
February 2018
Yeah.
when I got out.
Yeah.
When we had that first photo shoot,
Yeah.
or they show up when I met.
Oh, we met up.
When everybody came to the restaurant. And
Nah, I showed up with you in a restaurant. We were outside, and then from there we had a photo shoot.
Cause I remember when you did the cover, the Devil's Playground.
Yeah.
And you had put that like Grim Reaper on it.
Yeah.
With and then on the pole it said HPS.
Yeah.
It was crazy because I had a Santa Muerte in those days.
Okay.
So in my head I was like, oh, that's a sign. That's my Santa
Oh,
Muerte.
okay. So at that point you were already like getting to know.
Yeah.
That
shit was already that shit was already in full effect.
And this was like 2006 when I remember. It's trip that you brought up the whole PTSD because that's a very big topic right now for people of color, people that come from neighborhoods. That there is a PTSD factor there because of obviously police and even ourselves. You know the trauma that we cause ourselves.
Like right
And
now.
what do you do to combat the PTSD?
Man, you just fucking,
Music.
I mean, when the PTSD kicks in, it's paranoia and kicks in. So that you just gotta let it like run its course, and then you settle down. But it's crazy because right now with the laws changing, I have a lot of friends that are coming home from prison that had life sentences. I have a lot of friends that have been coming home lately with life sentences that have been coming home.
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming home with PTSD. Like, they're, like, straight institutionalized, and their mannerisms are all, like, prisoned out.
Yeah.
And mine's is, like, I have my PTSD, but it's a little bit different because I wasn't in an actual cell. My prison was, like, a mental prison.
Yeah, that's deep.
Psychological prison.
Which sometimes that could be even worse.
And the thing was that I didn't do life in prison, but I did. But 15,
you were fighting for your life.
I did 15 years as a fugitive, and so that's not to say that I was in the fucking trenches every day of that 15 years, because that's not so.
There were good moments.
Man,
I'm sure.
I did a lot of positive shit. Like a lot of people don't know that the last few years I was an assistant instructor, a self-defense assistant instructor at the version of the Mexican YMCA in Baja, and I'll teach the kids.
That's dope, man.
like at-risk youth, like showing them how to defend them. Just so I think a lot of the shit that us as growing up in LA as kids, or any or just even Southern California, or even the old South, man, I'm gonna just say the whole U.S. Or even the world, is that we don't have discipline in. Even if we had discipline within the slums, the outcome will still be different. But since we don't have no discipline,
we have no self-discipline.
We have no self-discipline.
Like we have discipline through other people giving it to us. But we don't have discipline within ourselves.
And then since we're victimized by the system, we become victimizers.
That's true.
So we don't have nothing. So fuck it, we taking shit.
Yeah.
We don't. I want that. but there's no way to get it, so fuck it, let me take it from him. He looks weaker.
Yeah.
So we start, I would do that. So a lot of there was a lot of positive shit that happened. It wasn't all bad, but when it got bad, it got real bad. And when it got good, it was real good. And it was, there was a lot of blessings that came with it,
Yeah. That's dope. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the season 1, because this was literally just the tipping point of this whole podcast. We're gonna take it way beyond, but we're gonna focus on season 2 now, and we're working on it right now currently. Conejo's taking it back to the late 80s, early 90s, to what got him into music. So we're gonna explore that and get more deep into that, how it all started.
Yeah, how it all started for us.
How he was, how the curiosity that brought him to different people being involved. We have a thing called Patreon, which will be extra content. This podcast will maintain free. Will always be free, but we're gonna offer extra content on the Patreon, which is bonus episodes, clips, raw clips of tours. We're gonna be offering photography, merch. So just look out for that Patreon. And how the Patreon works, it's a monthly subscription. You'll have access to all our stuff based on the subscription you choose. We're gonna have 3 different price tiers, which will be 3, 5, and 10. We'll get more details on it on the website. If you go to insideofsinistermind.com, you'll be able to see what you get with different tiers. And it's basically just like they'll charge you $3 a month. Get access to behind the scenes, behind the music, which would include lyric breakdowns, stories of recording some of the most memorable Conejo tracks, which some of them are fucking wild. Wait till you guys hear how he recorded Killer from the West. That story is fucking crazy. So that's kind of what you expect out of Patreon. So I hope you guys are able to understand that the podcast will continue to be free. Make sure you subscribe and comment and share with your friends. But if you can kick back $3 a month by basically buying us a cup of coffee a month, and it's just a small fee, and we call it a donation because it's not for our pockets. It's to pay bills. We would appreciate it if you guys could go ahead and subscribe to the Patreon and help us go get bigger, better.
Just tune in. We're gonna have that exclusive and a lot of surprises.
Yeah, a lot of surprises, a lot of developing ideas that we have. Even the video content, we're gonna do some dope video original pieces. Also, one thing, we're gonna be giving people that subscribe to the podcast, through Patreon, that free download of that one, the soundtracks, because we have original music produced by Bandit from Tatooine. So we're gonna be releasing those on Patreon. So if you're able to subscribe to Patreon, you'll be able to get all the songs that will be dropping there, which will be only exclusive. Later on, we'll put it on Spotify, but to actually download it, visit our website, support the podcast, comment, review, and share with your friends, because it takes a lot of work to do this. So I would appreciate it if you enjoy this podcast, really enjoy it, share it, and understand that this is a spiritual journey, telling real stories. It's not just a negative. We're going to give the negatives, the positive, the lessons learned, and to what makes Conejo and what brought him to this point.
Inside a Sinister Mind. We out.
Stay tuned for our Patreon, a hub that will offer produced video and behind-the-scenes content, get in-depth music and lyric breakdown episodes. Subscribers will get to download exclusive music soundtracks. So for more information, go ahead and visit InsideOfSinisterMind.com.